Well, okay, so here's the thing. I'm not going to lie to you because that would suck, but the audio from this flight was kind of garbage. I thought I had it perfect, where like I set my microphone up and had it all recording into the GoPro, all perfect. And then I went back to check the audio, and this is what it sounds like. I'm talking at this point in the shot. So yeah, but here's the thing. This was a really nice flight, and I really want to use the video from it. So I figured instead I'll just record a voiceover, and I'll talk about what I was talking about on the flight anyways. So, as the title of this video suggests, early this month, I quit my job. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why I did that and the reasoning behind all of that, and then what's next for me. So, first off, I think that the best way to go through this is probably to explain kind of what I did and how I got into it and how I got to where I am and go from there. So, let's go back to 2007. I'm graduating high school, and I'm going to college, and I don't really know what I want to go to college for. So I apply to go in as a business major, and lucky me, can't get in as a business major because between my ACT, SAT, whichever one of those I took, between my SAT scores and my GPA, I am like 1 point off of where you need to be to get in. So like they do this thing at CSU where they have a chart and you needed to have like 110 on this chart, and I had like 109. I'm not even kidding. So I actually, and this kind of sucks because I found this out later. So you can, when you retake whatever I took, I think it's the ACTs. When you retake the ACTs, apparently you can like combine those two scores, because I got like better in math the first time and better in reading the second time. Apparently you can take the best of those two scores and combine them. And if I would have known that, I could have just gotten straight into business school, but didn't know that. So ended up, I started into business school as open options seeking business instead of just being like a business major. So what that really meant for me was that I had to take business calc, and my GPA couldn't drop below like a 3.2 or a 3.5 in my first semester or something. So turns out I'm real bad at calculus, and and so I took business calc and got like a D or an F, and I think you had to get a C. And so I was super bummed about that. Went and said, okay, what else do I like to do? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do theater, because like throughout all of high school, that's all I did was do theater stuff. And so in starting theater, I kind of went into it a little bit and was like, you know what, I'm not super into this. Like, I realized that like theater kid, check this out, this is Interstate 25 flying straight over it. That's pretty cool. Anyways, so realized that like theater people are basically always looking for a job, right? You get like a 6-month gig, and then you do a whole show, and then you're just looking for a job constantly, and that didn't sound like fun, especially with like, now I'm married, or not married, but like I know I want to be married, I know I want to have kids, and so that kind of was a non-starter for me. So then I said, okay, well, so I'm kind of just kicking around. I thought I was going to be a theater major. I thought I was going to be a business major. All the while I'm in choir, because like in high school I was in 3 choirs or 2 choirs or whatever and loved it. So I'm in choir, and so all of my friends obviously are also in choir, and yeah, so I was like, okay, so maybe I'll do music. And like, I shouldn't have been a music teacher. Like, I didn't want to be a music teacher. I wasn't going to be a performer. I was good at music, but I wasn't like, I'm not going to go be anything amazing or whatever. So anyways, so fast forward, I declare as a music major, and I'm in music for like 2 years. And during this time, I pick up being a private pilot because I'm like, okay, I know I don't want to be a music major. Check this out. This is like a water treatment plant. I didn't during this flight, I did not know this was here until I was like flying over it. But I figured it would be kind of cool to go see. So while we fly over this, keep on this story. So anyways, so I knew I didn't want to be a music. Like, I knew I didn't want to do music professionally. And so I decided, okay, maybe I'll go be a pilot, right? I've always liked to fly, obviously. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go be a pilot. I go get my private pilot's license. And I tell my dad, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a private pilot. And the airlines don't really care what degree you have. They just want you to be to like have a degree. And like, realistically, I actually wanted to go fly like for NetJets. So like, I wanted to fly people's private jets all over the place. And so my dad was like, yeah, they probably don't care what you have, but at the same time, like, if you get a business degree, that's probably much more marketable than getting a music degree. Like, the airlines might not care, but at the same time, if let's say that you end up not being a private pilot, probably better to have a business degree than a music degree, and you don't really want to do music professionally anyways. So at that point, I was only really a year behind. Like, I had been taking my Common Core stuff or whatever it's called. So I decide, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to get my business degree. I retake business calc and pass, thanks Paul Newsome. And so I graduate college with a business degree with a computer information systems concentration. So I get out of school and I was kind of faced with this like, hey, what are you going to do now? And so I'm in school and I interviewed for one company. I interviewed for VMware and I got offered a job right out of college. I can remember the day. It was like right after one of the business classes, and I was standing right outside of the new business school and got this call, and they were like, hey, we'd like to offer you a job. It'll pay $50,000 a year. And I distinctly remember this on when you were walking up the steps in the business college, there was a sign that said, did you know, like, the average salary out of college for CSU business majors is $46,000 something dollars, right? And I was like, sweet, this company VMware is going to pay me more than the average. So like, good job, Casey. So the decision I made was, I'm going to go and I got this business degree and I'm going to go do something with it, right? Computers change rapidly, so if I sit on this concentration, I'm probably not going to be as marketable. I'm pretty good at computer stuff. I like doing computer stuff, so let's go use this degree. I'll make a bunch of money, and then what I had told myself and told Sarah was, at 35 years old, if I still want to go be a pilot, I'll have saved up enough money that I can go and pursue being a private pilot. So like I can like quit my job, spend a bunch of money to go get my commercial license and make that jump, which, to be fair, I could do that. I don't want to though. The idea of being a pilot sounds really cool, but at the same time, I got a family, I want to be at home, so that's off the table. So I get this job at VMware, and for the first year and a half, I'm a technical support engineer. Basically, I'm tech support with a 401k, right? People call me, they say, hey, my stuff's not working, and I do troubleshooting to try and figure out what was going on. So I do this for about a year and a half, and I show that I'm pretty decent at it. And fast forward a little, like to the end of my first year and a half, it's like December of, what would that be, 2014. I get this job opportunity to go be an account manager for this one really big account that I now have for like the next 10 years. So initially it was supposed to be, that role was like supposed to be for Brandon Pittman, and he decided to go do something else at VMware and like put my name specifically, said, hey, go talk to this kid Casey, he's really good, he'll be really good with that customer. So needless to say, I get that job, and so I'm the dedicated technical support engineer for this one company. And for the next like 2 years, all I do is this one company's stuff. I like do most of their, like anything that I can do, I do for them. And then anything that's not within my expertise, I hand off to another TSE, and then I manage that account or manage that experience, right? And so I really enjoyed that job. I actually really enjoyed when it was just me with that one big customer, and I was doing technical stuff and I was doing account management. It was kind of like the best possible scenario for me because I got to do all the technical stuff, which I really enjoyed. The technical stuff is just like doing puzzles all day, which is fun. And then anything that I wasn't good at, I went and found experts to figure it out, right? And then I got to work with the same people over and over again. So I got to build these relationships, which I really enjoy. That's like one of the things that I really enjoy doing. So I build all these. So then they changed the job on me, right? Now all of a sudden, instead of doing the technical stuff and doing the account management, they're like, okay, well now you're just going to do account management. And that was a huge bummer for me. But I was like, okay, it'll probably be even easier, right? I don't have to do the hard technical stuff. All I have to do is be good with people, and like I'm just naturally good with people. So I'm like, okay, let's keep doing this. So then there was like a couple bumpy years where they like took that one big customer away and gave me 20 small customers, and then I hated that job and applied for the support account manager role and got rejected from the support account manager role, and then like 6 months later got accepted to the support account management role. They give me that big account back plus like a couple others, and that was probably 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, we'll call it 2019, 2019, I get into the role that I was in until recently, which is support account manager, which was, like I said, all it was managing the accounts, and that was it. So it was fine, right? Like I enjoyed the job, I enjoyed the people that I worked with, but it wasn't like mentally stimulating at all. It was kind of like, hey monkey, just click the button. And again, like not to toot my own horn or anything, but like I'm fairly decent at interpersonal communication. I'm a good communicator, so it wasn't a challenging role. And over the course of like 5 years, I kind of lost interest. And so last year, for a bunch of different reasons that we won't get into on this vlog, I kind of started to look at my life and I was like, okay, so we have to talk about one more thing, which is 2 years ago in 2022, Broadcom bought VMware, right? They just bought VMware outright and started to fold us into Broadcom, right? And so Broadcom changed a lot. The first big thing was like, instead of working from home, I had to go into the office. And they kind of were like, hey, you got to go to the office. Just kidding. Hey, you got to go into the office. Just kidding. You have to go all the way to the Broomfield office. Just kidding. Now you have to go to the Fort Collins office. And so like that was insanely stressful because I was not going to do the hour-long commute each way to Broomfield. And yeah, so anyways, so Broadcom makes us all go back to the office, and I don't want to work in an office. I just don't. Like, I want to be outside. I want to do stuff with my hands. I want to, like, I know this sounds crazy, but anytime I was on a phone call at work, when I was at home, I was always walking around doing stuff. I was watering plants, or I was putting away laundry, and like, I know that sounds like I was probably distracted at my job, but it was exactly the opposite. When I like have something to do with my hands, I pay attention a lot better than if I'm just sitting at a desk doing nothing. So they take that away. I have to go into the office, and I kind of started looking at it, and I was just like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, I just can't do it. And all the meanwhile, Sarah is growing this business, Tether Insights. And Tether Insights, she can explain it way better than I can, but basically she uses some AI and some psychology to be able to look at how specifically direct-to-consumer market or direct-to-consumer brands are marketing to their customers, and she uses psychology and AI and all this cool stuff to like make that better. So her business last year starts to explode, right? Like, she made over $100,000, and like enough that I could probably just not work. So we made the decision late last year that was like, okay, I'm going to stay at Broadcom through the middle of March and get a bunch of RSUs and whatnot. Like, there was a bunch of incentive to stay, but we still took a huge pay cut, right? Like, I'm not going to get into specifics, but like, I made a bunch of money last year and would have made more this year, right? Like, I would have probably made, on top of what I made last year, I bet you would have made another 40 grand. Like, I made a lot, but I hated it. And they call it, so the way the term is golden handcuffs, right? Where you have like RSUs that are going to vest every 3 months or whatever. And so it's just like, oh, just wait another 90 days and you get another like chunk of RSUs. So I decided, like, I don't want these golden handcuffs anymore. And so we decided that I was going to quit. And we are now living completely on the income from Sarah's business, which honestly is awesome because Sarah really enjoys working. And I really enjoy doing house stuff. So I think that the moral of the story for me is kind of around burnout, right? I think that term, you hear it a lot on YouTube. Like, people are like, oh, this is all burnout and blah, blah, blah. But I think that happens in like regular career life too, where you just, like I said, it's not like I was bad at my job. In fact, I think that from what I had been told by plenty of people, like, I was pretty good at my job. And it was so monotonous and so like soul-sucking because of what it was, not because of the people. Like, if you're one of the people that I worked with, you're the only reason that I stayed at that job for as long as I did. But just the actual work itself just wasn't interesting. And so I think, like I said, I want to talk about burnout and basically just like doing something that you really enjoy. And I understand that like I am privileged in the fact that like I had a trust fund and I left college with no debt, and you know, my wife and I both make enough money to survive on just one salary. Like, I get that I am privileged. I think that my point is, if you are in a job that you really, really dislike, it would behoove you to figure out like what you actually enjoy doing. So like for me, I know I love to work with my hands. I love to make stuff. I love to be outside. And yeah, like some of those jobs, like one of the jobs that I was watching was being like a tree trimmer. One of those guys who like climbs up a tree and cuts down limbs. And like, well, yeah, that job probably doesn't pay as much as the cushy tech job that I had. I think that I would have been way, way happier to go to work every day if I was doing that job, or, you know, something in the construction industry, or being a finish carpenter or whatever. And I think that that's a good life lesson to learn, which is like, pick something that you actually enjoy doing and do that thing for a while. And the other thing that I would say is try and set your lifestyle at at an amount that that allows you to switch jobs and careers and not be stuck in what you're doing. So Sarah and I had always kind of set our lifestyle up so that we didn't have to make more than about $100,000 a year to make it. And so now with her business making over that amount, we can kind of say, all right, like, we're going to make this switch and we're going to be okay because she makes what she does, even though it was technically even though what she's making now is technically less than what I was making last year. It's okay because we set our life up in a way where we can take a big pay cut and not be in financial ruin. So yeah, so I know this is kind of a long one, and I know I'm cheating because I'm doing a voiceover instead of the actual audio from the flight, but I think I captured basically the gist of what I said in flight as well. So yeah, so I think I'm gonna sign off here. I'll turn the camera back on when I get on the ground. Perfect. Could not have landed that better. All right. It was so much better than yesterday's landing. Holy cow. All right, guys. Well, thanks for sticking with me. I know the voiceover thing was a little weird this time, but next time I'll try and get that audio figured out. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Like it because you like it, and keep on coming back. We'll see you guys in the next one.